We have my good friend A.Scott Bolden, the former chair of the Democratic DC Party, but he is a political analyst everywhere. It's not irresponsible to ask and demand something before a vote. That's not irresponsible, Scott. That's politics. That's politics. That's what everyone. That's
with nowhere to go.
No. You're saying that.
Agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that, Scott. I don't agree with that. And maybe we're saying the same thing and just coming out differently. But I'm going to keep it real simple, right? If you are running for office and you know you need at least 95% of the people that look like me to vote for you and have been voting for you, and I'm demanding some things up front before I vote that you need to commit to.
In order for us to vote for Biden, we can't be taken for granted like we always are because we're supposed to be Democrats or because people are afraid of Trump. It's whoever's going to take care of our community, whoever wants to make a deal. It's business at this point. You know, we can't trust politicians, you know, so we want to know very clearly, just like Trump made it clear that he wanted to build a wall, Biden needs to make it clear that he's going to change the lives and quality of life of black and brown people, or else he can't get the vote. I will hold the vote hostage if I have to.
And if you don't commit to him, that's a problem. That's not holding you hostage. That's not saying I'm jumping on the bandwagon with Donald Trump. That's what the Republicans are doing right now. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. And let me try to make it a little bit clear. Watch this. Let me make it.
I don't disagree with what you said.
Right. So how's that irresponsible?
We would hold our vote hostage and not vote for you. I'm saying he went further than what you just presented, and to go further in this political climate is irresponsible because he has a following. And if young black people who follow him and his music don't vote because they take him literally, that's irresponsible and that's ridiculous because he can't tell them to hold their vote. We got nobody else to vote for. What are we gonna do?
Scott, you know the intent of what he's saying is that I'm not going to go out there and do rock the vote. I'm not going to do tend to rock the vote. I'm not going to be out there jumping up and down. We're not going to be out there giving concerts. We're not doing that stuff if we're not getting something, right? And they're saying, what are we, and I think that is not irresponsible to hold people's fire. Let's go back to from a historical perspective.
But you keep talking about everything up to him holding his vote hostage and not voting.
You're saying hostage. You're saying hostage.
He said it. Those were his terms.
Scott, I don't mind saying that I'm not going to vote for you if you don't get, I mean, very clearly, do you think the Republicans are talking to Biden right now? And they're saying, hey, we're going to be with, no, they're telling him you've been around politics. They're telling him exactly what they want them to commit to. And if he doesn't commit to it, they're not going to be supporting him. And as soon as someone like a Diddy says it, it's a problem. And I just think that's wrong. And we can agree to disagree.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. We agree on 80 to 75% of what Diddy said. But that last 25%, if you've got no leverage, don't say it. Even if you feel that way. I know what he meant, Kwame. I know what he meant by it. And I know he probably went too far. My fear is even rhetoric about not voting for Biden is dangerous. Now, you and I may feel differently about that, but I think this race is so very important. Even though it's not the most important race that we're going to have this year. The race for the Senate in Kentucky, a very red state, whereby the Senate majority leader is up, and it's time for him to go. In many respects, he's the most powerful man, along with Trump, in America. Amy McGrath is running an incredible race against him, and that's a race that is vitally important to Black America, as it is this presidential race. And so I just take it very seriously when Black people try to leverage something that they don't have. You got to have an alternative to hold your vote. So everything else is fine with.
Scott, that's now that right there is funny. And let me tell you why that's funny. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves not because he actually cared about the slaves, right? Let me back up. Then you had Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill, not because he actually cared about African Americans and segregation. It's been historically noted, right? Then we have, hold up. Then we have Nixon. Right? Who actually, in my opinion, when he created the 8A program and the SBA program and Minority Business Development Agency, did more for black businesses and black wealth than this country has ever seen. Right? It didn't like he really cared about it. It was just he did it because he thought he could win a second election, and that's why he did it. Right? And since then, those are the three things that people have figured out in order for them to get the vote they were going to do. Maybe not because they wanted to do it and agree with it, because it was politically right for them at the time. And what Diddy is saying, hey, right now, hold on, let me finish. And Diddy is saying right now, at this time, in order to win back the White House, you need our vote. Period. There's no disputing that. And in exchange for our vote, there's some things that we want. And we want you to agree to up front, so we know that we're going to get something at the end. I agree with that. I don't have a problem with that. Now, some people, like yourself and others, say, well, you shouldn't be, we got to win. Just beat them, and then we'll figure the rest out later. Well, I mean, we've been waiting to figure a lot of stuff out later. We can't even figure out how they're going to spend, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party are going to spend all the money they're spending on a campaign with people of color, and they need people of color the most. I mean, you have to be sensitive to this younger generation that are demanding more and they want more. And if in fact you don't do that, you're not going to inspire them to jump out and vote because you're saying you should just hate Trump because you should hate Trump. I just think there has to be a different message. That's all I'm saying.
You should hate Trump because he's bad for America. You should love the Democratic Party. They are as flawed as they may be. But Kwame, when put that way, as you just laid it out, when put that way, I don't have a problem with anything you just said. I really don't, because
great. Here we go.
Hold on. But that's not that's not how I process what Diddy said. And your presentation was a lot more substantive and smarter, because within those remarks you just gave was the realization that we've got to work with the Democrats and Joe Biden and demand what we want, because we saved this party, we saved this country, and so we ought to be firm about it and negotiate now, not later. What's missing from your statement that I like a lot is the fact that you didn't say, and if we don't get it, we're not going to vote for you, or we're going to withhold our vote, which only equates to a vote for Donald Trump. I think Diddy went too far. I know what he meant. He meant what you said. But he went too far, and I fear entertainers and athletes and actresses and actors who go too far with this following that they have. It could be very misleading, and it's irresponsible to say that when we need every vote for Biden, everyone that is that cares about this country, and we all do. That's my only objection. That's my only angst when it comes to Diddy and his presentation, because he could have gave your presentation and nobody would have jumped on him. Trust me.
Well, I tell you what, I think what people are saying.
I think,
no, right? No, I like you said, but I think what people are saying, and especially some people, whether they're right, whether you agree or disagree, what I'm hearing is people are saying, hey, we are now going to vote our interest, period, right? So if there's no interest greater than they're bad and I'm good, and you got to think about it. Nixon created the 8A program and said he was creating some black millionaires, and he did it just to get the vote, and that was an interest that people had, and they voted for Nixon, right? And to this day, if you look at the folks that are in the categories of 75 to 80 to 85 years old that have created a lot of wealth, they will tell you that most of them were Nixon Republicans. Why? Because it was their interest. And the only thing I'm saying is that I believe at some point, if the Democratic Party don't wake up and think about how to make sure that some of those things that the young folks and middle-aged folks want from an economic perspective, I'm not sure if the Republicans will wake up and say, hey, again, that was years ago, but they've done it a couple times for us. Hey, let's give them what they want. And if they do that and pull 2 to 3 to 4% of African Americans based on doing something that the Democrats won't articulate, the Democrats won't win the White House. It won't happen again. You know that, and I know that. So, roll the dice. Say what you want to say. If in fact, I mean, there are people now saying that if in fact, if Trump comes out and says, well, we'll get rid of all the student debt, then people say, whoa, no student debt? I'm all for that. I'm just saying, as folks that are a little bit older, they got to understand what's really going on with some of these younger generation and what's motive. And now it's about their interest. And I think if we keep down the same old, we might be in for it, the same old that we got before. But I know you don't totally agree with it. But I'm hearing from you.
Maybe.
Well, look. I don't.
We can agree to disagree, but maybe you might be right. I mean, shit, I guess. I tell Republicans all the time, Kwame, that they really want to get 20 to 30% of the black vote. If they came out with an urban agenda and cleaned up urban America, because the majority of the crime being committed in our major cities are against black folks who have family members who are being shot and killed or arrested and in prison because they don't have reasonable alternatives or job training or education opportunities. If the Republicans, from an entrepreneurship standpoint, came out and invested time, money, and resources in all of these communities, it would be a killer initiative for the Republicans against the Dems. Because then they could argue that the Dems have taken you for granted. I cleaned up your community. I gave your son and husbands and fathers good paying jobs. I paid for the education for your kids from my leadership at the White House. And the Democrats have never done that for you. And yet since 1960, black people have voted for the Democrats. Then he could say, what do you have to lose? Because I've given you something. I may not be perfect, but I'm giving you economic and educational security. And I cleaned up your community and got rid of the gangs.
Well, that's
too stubborn.
That's my point, Scott. You see what you believe and what Democrats are believing is that'll never happen. And I'm saying if it does happen, it doesn't matter if it's 2 months before the election. If it does happen in some agenda that comes out, there is a problem. But it's a problem that is solvable now, right? It's a solvable problem now. And I'm thinking that there's some that just don't believe that could ever happen. So therefore, they're going to go down the same path. But I want...
take us for granted then. If they won't get ahead of it and say, if the Republicans did this, then we'd be in a heap of trouble. Let's do it. Whether we want to do it or not, let's do it to take that off the table in this election. And you're absolutely right. But you're right. Today, maybe that's what our...
Did Scott say I'm right? Did you just say I'm right, Scott? Did you just say I'm right?
Yeah, I did. I've been thinking about it while I've been listening to you. I got to maybe, but this last point about our communities of color and cleaning it up, the Republicans could blow the Dems away, and they just won't do it. And I don't want to say thank God they won't do it politically, but you're right, the Dems need to be doing that. Why are we talking about the Republicans doing it when the Dems, who owe us everything, need to do it? Why do they tolerate urban America and the ills of urban America when the majority of them who are there are black representatives of black elected leaders? Oh my goodness, I sound like a Republican. Let me shut up. Oh.
Once again, the reason why I was coming around, because that is my point, right? I had an old mentor of mine, very smart political guy, and he used to always tell me, he or she that's in power, no matter if you're running against them or not, they're there, right? They have the ability to change. They have the ability to be whatever they need to be in order to win, right? And that's what I'm thinking that's going on. And now Diddy didn't say that, but I think him saying that I have an interest and somebody needs to meet my interest, that's very scary, right? And that is saying that if in fact, when you are the president, you are still the president. And if in fact President Trump would lay out an agenda, aggressive agenda that was geared towards economic parity for people of color, or cleaning up urban communities, or doing anything for black folks, the Congress is going to vote for it. It's not like they're not going to vote for it, right? And the Senate's probably going to vote for it. And if that happens, I don't care what anyone says, You're going to have to hold some of those 95, 96% of the people to the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party is going to be standing there saying, why didn't we do that? And then there's going to be a bunch of people like you and I who are going to say, we've been talking about this and they didn't want to do anything. And sometimes, we have to look at it and just, really think about what Diddy is saying on a broader context. That's what I'm saying. When I talk to my nieces, I talk to my nephews, I talk to these young folks out here, these Bernie supporters, whoever, they have an interest. And if the Democratic Party is not meeting that interest, I think that's where it comes to problem. And it may not be just you and I say, hey, no Trump ever. They might say they're staying home. They might say, Trump comes out and say, we know that. And okay, well, watch this, Scott. If in fact the Democratic Party continues to spend less than 5% or 2% of their resources targeting a community that they need, they will not win this election. On record. On record. I just said it. On record. I'm on record. I'm saying it.
And I'm not going to challenge it. The other thing, no matter what happens in this race, if Biden wins, black people have got to stay active and involved and lead the inauguration. I've always said that Barack Obama for 8 years, I've been one of the critics that he didn't do enough for Black America. But I also criticize our communities of color because we didn't do enough to make him do more for us. We never left the inauguration. And so whether it's fair to criticize Barack Obama or not, and it is fair to criticize any president, but you've got to demand, and you've got to make him do what you want any president to do. I mean, when Roy Wilkins and FDR would meet, FDR would agree with Roy Wilkins in the 30s and 40s and say, I agree, and the demands for the Negro people or the American Negro were the same as they are today. And then FDR would say, now you got to go make me do this. It's not going to happen by osmosis. There's political risk here. So you make me do it, and we got a deal. And it's the same way today. Various interest groups get what they want out of the White House, whoever's there, because they make them do it. They create an environment and leverage so that the president and their people have no choice politically but to do it, to deliver those monies or to deliver on gay marriage, to deliver on more money for AIDS research and what have you, or monies to empower our communities, or more policing dollars, you name it. These special interest groups make them do it. And black people don't seem to be either ready, willing, or able, or know how to do that. And so we got to get organized in that way. And the fact that I challenge you and make you do something in the White House doesn't mean I don't love and care about you. It means I have interests. And my interests are more important than you being politically elected and sitting in the White House.
But Scott, that's my point. And I do believe that was Diddy's point. Now, but we also have to come to the realization that there is a problem in our community. And the problem is anytime anyone says anything negative or what they want or what they expect, there's a certain segment of the African American community that will chop your head off. You just made a comment. You just made a comment that you said that, hey, could President Obama had done more for black people? I mean, I tell you, you say that, people out here will just cut your head off for saying it. How dare you say that? How dare you ask for something? It was if we don't figure that part out, that's our biggest problem. Instead of people figuring out they knew what Diddy meant, right? But people just jumped on him. But they knew what Diddy meant. They know Diddy wasn't going to go vote for no Donald Trump.
That's not what he said.
Yeah,
that's why he got on.
Yeah, but you knew.
Anyway,
you knew his intent, right? I'm saying we know his intent, but sometimes people are just afraid to go there, right? And to say, hey, I need, like you said, it can't be just inauguration. I need to, And the reason why, and I'll close with this, Scott, the reason why I think that that's the case is because I don't think that they see the black leadership as they used to see the black leadership when we were younger, right? Different group, different everything. It's just different. And they don't see that. Right now, if you ask people who is leading the Democratic Party, at least at the table, having the discussions, making the decisions on behalf of people of color. And I know it's a lot of people out there, a lot of people got their ears, but this is what I believe, just me, is that you got President Obama and you got Congressman Clyburn. That's it. And I think that there's some people in the Biden campaign that believes that as long as you got those two, it's all good. Keep moving. They're going to energize the base. The President Obama is going to energize the base, and people are going to come out, get him out there, get the wonderful former First Lady out there. They travel around, get some musicians and some superstars, and people are going to come out to vote. I personally think that's a losing argument. And I think we saw it in 2016, and I think we'll see it again as we go around. I think Congressman Clyburn is going to do a great job in terms of holding some accountability. But like you said, how are people going to help them hold it? And that's where we loses. Nobody wants to be the person, the agitator, right? They just want to be the person that benefits from the change that takes place, but they don't want to be the person that's out there saying this is what you need to do and getting your head turned off. People just want to benefit. My father used to say, the civil rights struggle with a lot of people out there. I meet people now, 75 years. I never met anyone who didn't tell me they wasn't out there marching. I never heard anyone that over 70 didn't tell me they were in the fight. But if you talk to people that were in the fight, they'll tell you there wasn't a lot of people wasn't in the fight, right? It was just a few people that created the change, and now people are benefiting from their fight. And I think that's where we are again today. But I'll give you your last words on your prediction for 3 states that are very crucial. One.
It's interesting. Before I get to that, it's interesting you didn't put Reverend Al Sharpton in, and I still think he's a pretty significant player, even with Trump in the White House.
Well,
I don't know whether you just left him off purposely or not, but I didn't purposely leave him off. I just kind of talked about what people are saying when they talk about black leaders, and it depends on who you talk to. Does Reverend Al Sharpton's name come up, right? But when you're talking to the majority of the people, those two consistently come up, right? And that's what they believe. That's what they think. So there was no slight to the Reverend Al Sharpton, because clearly he still has, a lot of pull, a lot of play, and a voice that needs to be heard. We have my good friend A.Scott Bolden, the former chair of the Democratic D.C. Party, but he is a political analyst everywhere. There's nowhere you can turn on. You're on the internet, we're on TV, we're on cable. Scott's everywhere. Scott, thank you for taking time to stop by, give us your thoughts. Talking to you soon. Go vote, everybody. Go vote.